Welcome to Lighting the Void.
Broadcasting live from a shack on a hill in the Mossy Creek bottoms of Cane Creek, Arkansas. This is Lighting the Void live here on the Fringe FM, www.fringe.fm. I don't think anybody says www. It's just fringe.fm. It's Cosmic Conditions tonight, June the 15th, 2026. It is the new moon. It's time to get back into it. We're here with Mary Dusina, going strong, and I'm going to let Mary take it away. But first, before we do that, I really want to, someone I got to mention here real quick. So, I guess when you get around this time in your life, Mary, people tend to disappear, pass away. I mean, it's just a part of life, and we lost another good one, Brent Thomas, who was the the host of Paranormal Portal. He's been on this broadcast. I was on his. The dude was such a nice guy. Like, he was, I don't know, man. He was one of the good ones for sure. Like, and he had a great show, a big audience. He's a family man, and doesn't say how he passed, which that doesn't matter. We know he passed away yesterday, so prayers and everything goes out to him and his family, for sure.
Beloved Brent, your wife, your family, all that know you and love you, fly high with the majesty of your soul. Get a hold of Kev Baker. I know you know him. And any of the others that can start our As Above, So Below Heavenly podcast ideas. We surround you with Great Spirit, the Holy Spirit, and with that energy shield around you, we'll be happy to allow your beautiful frequencies to imbue us as you wish to put messages out over the air, the spirit, the ethers. But in the meantime, blessings of soft moments and comforts to all the earthlies that love you, and blessings to the ancestors and your heavenly guides that welcome you.
Yeah, it's just sudden. No, I don't know. It's really strange. I don't understand. I know we lost Gordon, and then Kev was a while back, and then Gordon White passed away, and then now it's just, I don't know. Maybe it's just a part of life, but it is a little weird when it's people you know. You know what I mean? Like, it's weird. It's just a surprise.
Here's what it reminds me of. Realize how sacred it is in the present with the good people, the good animals, especially the good people that you know have always treated you fair, are people of integrity, authenticity that took their time, most of it pro bono free time, to build what they built, to share what they share. And when the door closes, doors open and doors close. When the door closes, the way that you communicate with beloved Kev Baker, with Brent and Gordon, the way you communicate with them will shift. We are spirit. We slip on skin to walk this earth, but for a while, and we return home as spirit. So it's more work for us, usually, so into the 3D earthly temple body, but we are the fire and air of spirit, just like those that decide to open up the door to their true home. So to me, it always reminds me, stop the worry, stop rushing ahead of yourself, stop stressing over a lot of these earthly concerns, and stop taking things personal from people that are in their snarky moods or think that it's cute to be sarcastic or gossip or say unkind things. How apropos for the Gemini season ruled by Mercury. So it's interesting, Joe. I was going to open with, Gemini reminds us all where our mind has been running our life. So, like social media, do we have too many tabs open? Do we have too many conversations going at once, like the self-talk, the running subconscious stuff that's going on that we learned in psychology classes? Do we have an overload of ideas? Do we have a plethora of options? And how many doubts come crashing in like a tidal wave? So the chaos, when we get to the third sign of Gemini, the chaos is revealing where movement has replaced clarity. So sometimes we're too invested in, oh, by tomorrow I got to do this and I got to do that. So if it will relax you to prep, if you got a big day tomorrow or you got a big thing that's on the schedule, then go ahead and give yourself some relief by not procrastinating, by going ahead and doing a little prep. Gemini and its opposite sign, Sagittarius, they're rapid fire. I mean, it's like Aries and Gemini and Sagittarius and Leo. I mean, it's like, put the foot on the gas pedal and go. So and when we think about Gemini, because I always want to include everybody at whatever level they are mystically with the signs when we talk about. I don't leave anybody out because there's so many people out there now, Joe, so many people that think they're like the consummate professional and they've studied it like 3 years. Yeah, okay. So I like to talk to the audience, even though I've done this for 40 plus years. I like to talk to the audience because I remember how much information overload it was to really start doing this, not just to memorize 12 signs and their rulers, but to really look at this as different types of herbs or vitamins or medicinal qualities. The frequency of Mother Nature is the wheel turns from year after year, and each year is different, even though the 12 signs will be represented for their celestial season. So Gemini is the final sign before our first solstice of 2026. So most of the time I'm talking to an audience that's in the Northern Hemisphere. So for the Northern Hemisphere, this sign right here and this super new moon in Gemini right here is the final new moon before we come into summer solstice on Father's Day this year on the 21st of June. So technically in the Northern Hemisphere, Gemini is the final sign of spring. Aries begins spring. Taurus is the blooms and blossoms of spring. Gemini is the warming season of spring. And in the Southern Hemisphere, it's autumn. So for those of you in Australia and the Outback, New Zealand, and all that, Queensland, so Gemini is still the final sign before your solstice of autumnal, the winter solstice. So it's summer solstice for Northern, just to clarify. And in the Southern Hemisphere, it's the start of their winter. So solstice means sun stands still, but I also think it's a sweet spot for our soul to look from our heart, our third eye, our heart, our soul center, look at life right now in the year of 2026 without all the fear, without all the boogeyman, the sky is falling stuff. Because I'll encapsulate it like this. If Aries is the first sign, and it's the ignition, it's the fire of Aries moves over the solid ground of Taurus, the first fixed earth sign, and then it creates a high velocity wind. So like that real electrical things when cats get all spastic and jump up and down in the trees before a storm's coming, like the trees start to swirl and you can feel the electricity in the air, and there's a storm coming, but the lightning and the thunder haven't started yet. So Gemini is the third sign, and it's the first air sign, and its element is mutable. That's a fancy word for changeable, like a shape-shifting kind of sign. And Gemini has the constellation of the twins. So we think about twins in history, like Cain and Abel, or Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, how that person would go into those two personalities. And so Gemini is the wind increasing. And when you think about the difference between a hurricane, tropical storms, tornadoes in the atmosphere, they get our attention. I mean, no matter what we're doing or who we're with, when you get that weather radio going off or your phone starts going off saying, seek shelter, there's a storm, there's winds, there could be hail, that's the heavens, the as above, getting our attention. And Gemini is also about duality. It's the part of us that, what about this? And what about that? And if that happens, then what if that opens up? So it's the part of us that gets into we're intrigued by the dance of chance. Gemini is that motion. Gemini is the motion that the irresistible force of Aries started. So it's the shimmers, it's the gleaming. It's our gleaming intelligence. It's our mind saying, look, you've always looked at it that way. Why don't we try something different? So Gemini and its opposite sign of Sagittarius, they're seeking what's the bigger picture here? What's my truth? What beliefs serve me best as I look at my family beliefs, my cultural beliefs, my religious beliefs, what's going to be serving me well rather than being programmed by public schools or influenced by social media, and I'm only cool if I act like this and I wear that and I say it this way. So Gemini is you choosing how it is that you want to express whatever it is you feel that you need to communicate. So just doing the silent treatment, like in a business frustration or certainly a partnership scenario, just giving someone the silent treatment is just another form of either gaslighting or manipulating. It's okay to step back. You know, I just had a Capricorn that I was talking to this weekend, and he said, you know, my deal with my wife is, I said, we're going to talk. When you're ready to talk and not be so upset, and I'm going to let you have your feelings, but when you're ready to talk, then I'll be here. I care. I want to work with you, but when you're in this high velocity storm center, when you're all stormy, when we get all stormy, that means that we could go into some of those subconscious patterns of projecting what we're upset about, what triggered us, that may not have a damn thing to do with the person that's around you. Could be something that is a trigger from your childhood or a trigger from your last divorce, or we're very hyper-vigilant because we have a trigger from the death of a loved one, be it an animal or a person, or we got that really high speeding ticket and we're in a mood and we're scared because we don't have the money or for the rent or the mortgage, and we're just like, you know, when we're like that and our mind is running rampant with, oh, what am I going to do, and who cares, and who will help, and we get into that mental anxiety. Gemini is the nervous system, it's the respiratory system. When you get hypervigilant and anxious, you have very rapid, almost hyperventilation breathing. It's like short, quick, intense breaths. So before we get to the beginning of the signs of summer, of Moonchild, Cancer the Crab, this coming Sunday on Father's Day, easy to remember, know that Gemini's planetary ruler is Mercury. So the reason this Gemini will be more result-producing is because Mercury right now is in the sign that's next. Mercury right now, the ruler of this new moon, is in the sign of Cancer, Moonchild, Cancer, the ocean crab. So it's allowing us, unlike last year, it's allowing us to have our intuitive antennas amplified. Cancer is that core, gut level, mother's instinct, daddy's wisdom, you know, guidance or wisdom. So it's that grandfather, it's that ancestral knowledge. It's if you accept that your soul lives forever, and perhaps you've had many different walkabouts or incarnations. So the Cancerian part of it is the good stuff that you learned in those other spirit body experiences. So it's Gemini reminds us that we're not supposed to kill or deny the ego, but we need to position it. Because the ego is busy telling us you're only going to be cool if you do this, and you got to have this much money, you got to wear those kind of shoes, and blah, 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 and you got to make sure you stick that Rolex up. So Gemini is about impressions and how you are presenting yourself. A little bit like Leo. And the other thing we have with this new moon is Venus went into Leo. Leo and Gemini are compatible in the astrological celestial thing because they're both yang. They're electrical. So right now, overall, this particular supermoon favors the air sign. So right off the bat, before we get into these little snippets of your signs, right now, signs that even if they have a problem, even if they have a situation they got to fix and it rolled up on them suddenly, the air signs of Gemini, happy birthday, Libra, and Aquarius right now have the most maneuverability right now to manifest, or if that's your moon or your rising sign. The other ones that are coming up with resolutions, or they have to apply a little more determined discipline, could be those fire signs. Also, Gemini is compatible with Aries and Leo, and even though it's the opposite sign to the final fire sign, Sagittarius, it still is a teacher. And I'll tell you a little secret about astrology. The more you run into and observe how you interact and who in your life is your opposite sign to your sun sign, I know we got a moon and a rising sign, but look at every time, if you're a Scorpio, for example, every time you interact with a Taurus, they're going to have some really neat nuggets of wisdom for you, and you're mutually teaching each other. It's a duality that works. So right now it's Gemini, and so Gemini's opposite sign is Sagittarius, so it's a vice versa. And it really is true in astrology that opposites can attract, because if I keep studying the opposite sign to my sun sign, and then as you get a little more intermediate or advanced with astrology, then also study the sign that's on your seventh house. So whatever your ascendant or rising sign is, like if you have a Libra rising sign, that's the dawning, that's your first house. So exactly 6 months away, which is exactly 6 signs away, that's going to be on your seventh house of significant other compatibility and challenges. These astrologers or these AI apps or whatever that tell you, oh, your seventh house is the sign that you should marry, and your opposite sign, what's on your seventh house, is the sign that's always going to be easy. Yeah, bullshit. No. If you got a Libra rising and you got Aries on your seventh house, you could have a tendency to attract an Aries type of personality, not the sign necessarily, but that kind of personality. And that might be what ultimately fires up your attraction code. So I would suggest as your homework for the Gemini teaching, learning, student, teacher season, learn your opposite sign to your sun sign and learn the opposite sign to your ascendant, aka the rising sign. And before we talk again, or if you ever want to have questions about learning it, I think it's kind of fun on the podcast, more than just getting the insights and themes for this particular next 2 weeks, really a month from new moon to new moon, because in 2 weeks we'll have the full moon. That'll be in Capricorn. So because summer solstice will have happened. So right now we're in an intellectual, do I need to write it? Should I get a card? That's a little old-fashioned. Maybe I should return to a little bit of an old-fashioned modality and go buy that $5 card instead of everything being a text or a direct message or an email. Maybe I actually should buy a card, because then the human part of that person that I want to express something to, I'll put it in writing. They can read it again and again. They can touch it. They're feeling my frequencies. They're feeling my auric energies off of what I wrote it with. If you mail it, then it came from your vortex to their vortex, so it traveled in the atmosphere to get to that person. And some of those things that we've kind of put aside as old-fashioned are getting a new revival right now, because everything's so social media, everything's bombarding us. The info thing is just off the charts. So to actually open up that blue envelope and to actually see a card inside of it and the artwork on the card and the sentiment on the card, it's coming back. It's coming back. You know, I noticed there's like bookstores opening up, even these little small Tennessee towns doing. I'm like, a bookstore? I kind of thought like books were out of style and nobody cared about them anymore. Brand new Sleepy Hollow bookstore. And I'm like, wow. So, you know, with Amazon and
I'd like to see people walking up and down the street again, man. It's like the freaking Twilight Zone outside. I mean, I know people live in cities and stuff, but I don't. I live in a rural area, and like growing up, man, it's like the Twilight, especially in the evening or at night. When I was a kid or even a teenager, there were people everywhere walking. I mean, it's freaking weird. It's really strange, I guess. Maybe I'm just old or whatever, but it's strange.
No. We're noticing there was a little next to that Sleepy Hollow bookstore when I drove downtown Sunday night. There was like this one ice cream shop that it's just so charming and country, like we're talking about Joe and families and kids come. Well, they got so busy down in a little town called Sweetwater, they had to open up one in another location in Monroe County. And I thought, that's a little closer. I like the one that's got all the families and the kids and the older people sitting, and they have a little swing outside for the kids to make it easy for the parents. It's old-fashioned like you're talking about.
Yeah.
And it's crowded, Joe. So no, it's not just you. It's crowded. So I wanted to go because the one they put in the other city in Monroe County was right next to the visitor center. But like you said, at night. So they closed at 10. I didn't want to go till 9. And I drove down the street with a friend, and there were just like maybe 8 or 10 people just sitting. They had big black rocking chairs, and people were in the little line to get their ice cream and their banana splits. And they all sat there. And some people, but you know what I noticed? The kids the kids and the teenagers were talking and their heads weren't down on the phone. I thought, that's the very people I thought would be on the phone. No, they were talking. There were Latinos there. There were like country people. There were like tourists that were there. And I'm like, well, isn't that interesting? This week I noticed, very Gemini, a new bookstore opened in downtown. The little, could be old-fashioned ice cream shop that has a drive-thru now. That's a little more modern. And you go, but the people chose to walk over into that little city park and sit there. And I looked around and I said, wow, how serene, how nice is this? I didn't need to chat anybody up. Other people were having their own conversations at the picnic tables. And I'm like, I'm digging this, just sitting here watching society be at peace.
Well, what about like, yeah, because you know me, like I'm a serial monogamist, but I do pull the charts of every person I date. And if they've got, yeah. I swear this happens, I could be wrong, you know, it probably sounds quackadoodle, but if they've got Gemini in their like Venus or maybe even Libra, I don't know, usually it's Venus, like they're all over the place, especially when it comes to like relationships. Like they don't even know the value of one person. They got to have multiple stuff going on all the time. And it's not something that I've learned not to speak about it. I just observe it because I could be wrong, you know, because there's different stuff in everybody's chart. But I swear, like after about 3 or 4 people, you're like, okay, well that's a thing. I think.
The main point is how it's bouncing with your chart, because you're the one looking at it and you're the one observing it. Let's say that instead of being Joe Roop the human right now, that your movable wheel is interacting with Venus is in Gemini and Libra. So let's look at it. There's 2 beautiful medicine wheels. There's star maps coming together going, hi, how you doing in the galaxy? Oh, I'm good. And so I think when you're studying a compatibility chart, besides all the technical I think what's really good is to start looking at the elements of the Venus and the Mars. And when it comes to the females or the feminine aspect, look at where their Venus is, and that's what's probably going to help them calm down in a relationship. I've always said, you know, like if somebody has an air Mars, I don't care how attractive you are, I don't care what your money situation is, if you don't have a natural compatibility with them intellectually, like the 2 of you need to stimulate each other with ideas and just intellectual things, like you like the same books or you study the same YouTubes, or at least if you haven't, you dig it that you like this one YouTube and they like that one YouTube, and the Instagram and the Substack things that they read and the kind of get in there intellectually and see if you're compatible. Like if somebody absolutely has to go to the racetrack and drive the car fast all the time, I'm not going to be compatible with that. I'm going to be compatible with the person that likes the soft moments and nature. I'm immediately compatible with strangers. I was in a Rural King earlier today. Who did I radiate to? The people that had their dogs in the store. And the dog barked and wagged its tail, and I'm like, does your dog like people to pet it or not? Like, I don't like to invade the humans and their dog. Oh, no, she loves that. No, she's calling you to come over and pet her. I would have never talked to those person necessarily, but I met the puppy and the teenage daughter and the wife and the husband, and I'm like, thank you for loving dogs. I just love dogs. And I looked at him and I said, and mainly I like people that like dogs. Otherwise, I don't want to know them. Yeah, I don't want to. And they laughed and they said, thank you for getting it.
So as far as like us, though, how is this energy affecting us specifically during this time?
A couple of things are going on with this one that's different. Chiron, which was in Aries in 2018, Chiron moves this week into the sign of Taurus. Mars is already there. So there's a groundingness, and like you're talking about, good old homemade macaroni and cheese, people walking down the streets. Taurus right now with Mars, where Mars is, and Chiron going into Taurus. We had 8 years of Uranus in Taurus until this year, and then Uranus moved into Gemini. We started watching what was happening with farmland, food poisoning, this and that, the land thing and all that. Now what are we hearing? Mars is in Taurus, and Chiron's going into Taurus, and we're hearing things like I think his name is Ron DeSantis, just voted that there'll be no property taxes in the state of Florida, a Pisces state. And then there was some guy running for something, I think it was Georgia, and he came from foster homes after foster homes and was abused when he was little, and he's running. I don't even remember which side of the fence it is, the Democrat or the Republican, but he said, if I get in, I'm stopping all the property taxes in Georgia. That helps where Pluto in Aquarius is right now, and Gemini's favoring that. That helps the slogan that matters to me, we the people. If we the people ever had a sign attached to it in any part of the world, it's Aquarius. And Pluto's in Aquarius. So right now we're looking for the music. We're looking for the soft moments with that best friend or that person we go hiking with. It isn't necessarily romantic, but we're rolling toward romance and intuition with this new moon going into the summer solstice in the Northern Hemisphere. We're rolling into the time of the year where it can all be in sync, that our person, and wow, I didn't think I'd add on to my really close best friend list. This is a very good dynamic of this supermoon. It's a supermoon, and so it's closer to Earth, and it's really energizing this atmospheric, the breath we breathe and we inhale and we exhale, Gemini, the spirit behind our desires, our passions. What's the spirit behind what makes us angry or resentful or sad? So Gemini's saying, test the spirit, so to speak. It's eyebrow raising. It can be a eloquent wordage. It can be the rebel. It can be the silver-tongued devil. You know, so Gemini can be all over the place, and it can be the Jekyll and Hyde. Gemini can be the Jekyll and Hyde. It really can.
Big
yeah,
time.
Thank you. Yeah. So you have to say to yourself, in my own definition, in my own interpretation, and of course the big answer, Joe, is where do you have Gemini in your natal chart? Where we have Gemini in our natal chart is exactly, no matter what sign we are, no matter what our moon is, wherever in your birth chart, in your Earth birth chart, you have the house of Gemini, even whether you have planets in Gemini in your birth chart. Just, we're entering into the Gemini room, so it's going to be a different house for everybody that's done their chart. When I go through the signs, yeah, you're going to know your sun sign that I'm going through, but you can also apply that if you happen to know what your rising sign is, and then you blend it. But the big picture and the simple answer is wherever Gemini is in your chart, whatever house that is, planets just add intensity more or less, but wherever you have the house of Gemini. So when I go through the signs and I say, Gemini, this is happening in your first house. Aries, this is happening in your third house. I'm going to tell you, and when we go through the signs, which we're going to do, I'm going to tell you what house it is for that sign. So Joe might be in Aries, and so his sun sign, he knows where the Gemini is for his sun sign, but if Joe happens to know that his rising sign is Taurus or Capricorn, when I get to Capricorn, he's go, oh, here's the easy way I can find out for me in my personal chart where Gemini is going to hit. So there's a lot of places that you can get that chart calculated, like astro.com type of a thing, just to put in your right birth time, put in the AM or PM, make sure the city's right. You can get your chart calculated and just have written down what your planets are and your rising sign. But I'm telling you, people, I've been doing this long enough, over 4 decades, you get what you pay for. You know, you think you're getting you're going to learn something from these little free things. But in my case, I had the wrong ascendant when I first started learning astrology when I was like 16. And when I went to a professional astrologer, thank God, in Orlando, Florida, he said, no. Your ascendant, because I'd done it by hand, your ascendant is not 16 degrees of that, it's only 3. Well, that shifted some houses for me, and it shifted some planets. So I had spent 4 years already learning all about my chart, learning about my planets and my houses, and I had it wrong. I'm going to tell you, to me, it's so much more difficult to unlearn something when it's a new subject. I mean, you're not only at square one, you know, you're all the way at square one, and you're going to keep some of the knowledge about the signs and all, but I mean, these people will tell you anything that you want to hear just to get the clicks or just to go viral, and I'm telling you, there's a lot of information out there, but it's not correct, and many professional astrologers, not just to try to get an appointment from you or the money, are trying to say to you, people, stop believing the first thing you're hearing from that psychic or that channeler or that new astrologer, whatever. Listen to them for a while, see if you really resonate with it, and see if it fits other ones that you're listening to, because your rising sign should be your rising sign when it's correct, no matter what astrologer you're talking to or reading about.
There's beginner books out there too. Like you guys, if you just want to get the basics, because if you go to the wrong person sometimes, and I've done that, you can get you can get just discombobulated because nothing makes sense. But there's beginner books out there. There's one that I recommend that I've always used to go back to, but it's better to get a professional reading from like Mary or Jeff. Just get it done, and that way you know what it is, and you can always come back to it, and it's right. It's going to be right.
Forever. You can study it forever, because now you have your personal X-ray, and you're really investing your time and your money to get the original interpretation and presentation accurately, and then you roll with it. Some years you're not going to want to fool with it at all. That book that Joe's talking about, just sit on that shelf, but you own it, and there'll be things that come into your life that be, that's a really big good thing that happened for me. Or, oh boy, that was a hard door slam, like we were talking about at the beginning of the show, an unexpected or a sudden wind of death.
So with the moon being in Gemini, like different than the sun, in Gemini. Yes. Before we even talk about Gemini, what is the difference that we should know right off the bat? Let's say something is in the moon. What does that mean? Like that luminary is different than the sun, right? So we need to know.
Absolutely.
So
they're both luminaries. The sun is the external. It's the yang. The moon reflects the light of the sun. In the evening hours that we see, she's the yin. So the sun is the electricity, the electro, and the moon is the magnetic. So in our charts, the moon mainly, besides all the things that it means, our moon sign governs. We're our inner child. We're our little person, the inner child, regardless of your biological age. It's the reference point automatically of where Joe's little boy and my little girl learned to be independent, had natural courage, had the ability to fight back no matter who or what or how tall they were, how old they were, what the role was, to be able to learn to be not just a survivor, but to learn how to thrive. So your moon sign, I would read it's like the inside of you. Like externally, we can meet a lot of people. We could say hi to a lot of people in a restaurant or a live audience or at church or whatever that is, but the people we connect with are going to be the people that touch our moon. Like it's our intuitive, it's our emotional intuition. It's just like here's a magnet. I'm drawn to that person. I'm drawn to that subject. I'm drawn to that podcast. That's our moon saying, this is good for you right now. It has to do with your psychological up level. It can have to do with what brings you calm. Life's going to have storms, but it's going to have storms. So the moon is where you're seeking serenity and safety and domestic bliss. That's why it rules the sign of Cancer, the crab.
I was going to say that because I'm a Cancer moon, and I know there's a few that listen to the show. Like when I get around Gemini energy, it's fun. It's attractive, very attractive for me because of the Aquarius, stuff I got going on. But like it does it, like emotionally, it scares me. It's not safe.
Okay, your moon is in the strongest sign, the ruler sign. Your moon is in the sign of Cancer, the crab.
Right.
So it's the ocean crab. Okay, your moon is in the sign of Cancer. The 12th house, the most vulnerable, embryonic. I'm in the womb. This is uncharted territory for me. I don't feel safe here. I don't know if I want a birthright. Okay, Gemini is that for Cancer. So if your moon is in Cancer, when you meet someone with a Venus or a moon or a rising sign that's in the sign of Gemini or even a Gemini, you'll look at their whimsical, flirty, socially adept, sarcastic side, but it's not going to feel safe for you,
right?
Emotionally,
exactly.
It's going to be like, "Are you kidding?" or like you're acting like you're joking, but that's the shit you really feel. Like They keep someone guessing because they're afraid of deep emotions. The sign right after Gemini, Cancer, has to have authentic, genuine emotions. Just whoever you are, that's what I want you to show me, and then we're both going to find out if it works or not. That's what the water signs want. That's what Cancer especially. Then Pisces, and then Scorpio. Scorpio just wait your ass out. Scorpio, like, yeah, you just jump all over the place because my eyebrows raised the whole time. So you may think that yeah, okay, go ahead. But Pisces will escape, and Cancer's like, I just do not I feel like I'm treading water here, and I got to keep my head up when I'm around them. Like, I can't ever really relax around that person.
Yeah,
They're
Cancer moon is tough, man. Like I even one of the girls I dated one time, I even flat out, it was like we got in a big fight, and you know how when you get into big emotional situations, like you'll say stuff either that you don't mean or that you really do mean that you were kind of afraid to say, and it was really weird. But I was, I said, look, I just don't feel emotionally safe here. Sorry.
There you go.
They're looking at me like, I don't know what that means. And I'm thinking, how do you not understand what that means? Like, you're bouncing all over the place. You're willing to just go whatever stimulates you, wherever that is. That's where you're going. Like, that doesn't work for me.
Okay, Gemini's a sky sign. Songbirds. They fly really fast. Dragonflies, lightning bugs, mosquitoes, bumblebee. They're the air creatures. And so Cancer, you need depth. It's a soft crab meat inside a hard shell. It's a turtle. It's the turtle, the shell is part of its body. Like, the turtle doesn't fully leave the shell. Some crabs do, the hermit crabs do. But it's got to do with, I'm soft and I'm delicious, and I'm not just going to, that's right. Oh, yeah, I got a Cancer rising. I know I'm delicious. So when you know that you're delicious and you're an expensive treat, go buy crabs, full crabs and lobsters and the crustaceans and the shrimp cocktails and all that. You get them crustaceans, you're going to pay some money. You're going to pay some money on that little appetizer. So, but there's the turtle soup even, it's rare. The tender flesh inside a hard shell. Cancer, people that have a Cancer moon, Cancer rising, even Cancer sun signs, they are the nurturers. So they're going to want to be that friend, wrap their arms around you, let you lay their head on their chest, just snuggle with you with absolutely no expectations, because they know how valuable it is to actually be able to let your hair down, take your eyelashes, like fake eyelashes off, not get Botox that week, be a little bit overweight, because the person that's got the Cancerian element in their chart's going to go, I am not looking at you for just your weight.
Right.
Or your money. I want to know
status, or your career, or your whatever.
Exactly.
Who cares?
I want to know if our spirits feel secure when we hang out. I can sleep alone, but I like hearing you snore on the couch over there. I like it.
Yeah.
Like, I love that you feel safe enough. Yeah, that's Cancerian. Yeah.
So with all of us, with this, how do we embrace this? Because how many days are we going to be in this energy? Like, how do we embrace it? Like, how do we use it to our advantage?
New moons go from the new moon. It's 2 weeks to the full moon. So the new moon is the launching of the theme or the insight. So right now, regardless of your sign, Gemini is up on the billboard. So Gemini right now has said, how you thinking? Do you need to upgrade your belief systems? Have you been negative, Nellie? Are you gossiping? Are you being envious or resentful or critical of other people? Are you running the same tape again and again in your head? So Gemini tells us to get a grip. To get a grip. Like I said at the opening of the show, do you have too many tabs open? Do you hit that button where it says close all tabs kind of a thing? So this is, and do we need a social media detox for about the next 10 to 14 days and interact more? It's summer. It's the warmer temperatures in the northern hemisphere. Maybe we need to get our ass out and go look at the little downtown park, or sit at a little soccer game or a football game, or meet some people, and
or
not
just
a
grill.
restaurant, not
just
go
outside and grill, drink a cup of coffee.
Absolutely.
And look at the sun.
Absolutely. Oh yeah. Well, I told you I lean into nature. But when you know your opposite sign, so Taurus soothes me. I got a lot of Scorpio. So I love trees, and I love the sunset and the sunrise, usually sunset. And my favorite time is twilight. Like you said, the stars, not just because I've studied the stars. Yeah, so I love the sound of the ocean, but yeah, I've had some magnificent starscapes in the mountains too, and out west. Joe, you went out west. And the Arizona, I kept hearing cowboy sky, cowboy sky. When I went out to New Mexico and Arizona and I looked at the cowboy sky, I'm like,
That's
oh boy.
amazing, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, it is. It really is. If you get a chance to do that, that's a dance you need to take. To go to New Mexico or Arizona, go out in that area and just get away from the city. Well, it's
Speaking
still
of
going to be cowboy
tabs,
sky.
let me tell you guys how brutal this is. I don't know if you've heard this or not, but lately there are commercials all over the radio and the internet about, hey, has your child or teenager suffered, emotionally, physically, psychologically? Are they addicted to Instagram or social media? Why is there an actual palpable lawsuit going around right now? Because these companies openly admitted in their company, I guess you could say, strategies, openly admitted to the public, which was stupid, that their stuff is addicting, number one, and two, that it causes psychological and emotional damage to people. Also, body shaming, all the stuff that you do to compare yourself to others is what they're purposefully doing on these programs, because they know psychologically you're addicted to trying to better yourself and comparing yourself to people all the time. They know it. And now there's a nationwide lawsuit against these companies about it.
Wow. What about the violence? I mean, there used to be really cool. There probably still are. I loved the video games where it was like more strategy, not just always running over somebody, shooting somebody, watching somebody blow up. I mean, I don't think that young minds let your brain go fast and all that. Yeah, but I don't think that's hypnosis. Anything that you're watching all the time and you're putting your eyes,
it's bad
in your
hypnosis.
brain.
Yeah, bad. There's good hypnosis and there's bad hypnosis. This is bad hypnosis. Like if you're constantly comparing yourself, or you even feel not good enough, even for a second, just because you watch something or somebody has and that shit's going on over and over and over and over. It is terrible for you. And now it made me think, like, why the hell is nobody going outside? I'm not so sure if it's that they're addicted or they just don't want to be seen in the public, or both. Yeah, especially the younger people.
Yeah, the shame, blame. Well, and let's not forget that there was the world's, in my lifetime, there was the world's first global lockdown that happened in 2020, 6 years ago, and not our parents or our grandparents. It wasn't a global lockdown, and social media was. I mean, World War II happened, World War I, Vietnam, Afghanistan, but the world didn't freeze frame and lock down and say, "Oh, boogeyman, don't go outside. You're not good if you don't do this." And the division started then, besides what already went on politically.
Yeah.
So we're still healing from that. Which side are you on? What do you believe in? It's like, none of your business. Back up. Pump your brakes and back your truck up, because I don't got to answer to you at all. I answer to God. Yeah, great spirit and God. Yeah, no, you're immortal. Did you notice that? You're immortal. Sit down. Just sit down.
So the one thing I like about Gemini is what you were saying about the judgment stuff. So the Gemini energy can see everyone's side of everything. Like
They're curious. They're
curious. But it is chaotic from an emotional point of view. It just doesn't feel safe. But from an awareness, like intellectual point of view, it's very stimulating, sometimes. So
that's a good distinction. So the air signs, before we get into Aries here, the air signs are supposed to stimulate us with creative expression. So the professor that moved you, the teacher that knew you were running game, busted your ass, didn't necessarily pick on you, but let you know right away. I had some teachers in a cool way that let me know that I like that sassy attitude of yours, but you better learn. I'm gonna help you learn how to temper that, so you're not staying after school or getting expelled, or somebody's running game on you. So I remember those teachers, whether it was elementary school, middle school, junior high, yeah. I remember those teachers that were like, they were cool. They were older people, but they were cool. And there really was no age difference, because they were appropriate. They knew how to engage my mind so that they could up-level me in an intellectual way by their example. So Gemini is more about not your words. Gemini can throw word salads all over the place. It's the sales, it's the con, it's what they used to call the circus snake oil salesman. Buy this, it'll fix everything. Yeah, I'm channeling this, and you should believe, otherwise you're a nerd. So it's the sales game and it's the con game all in one, and it's the book that you love. It's the words that dance off the screen or the podcast, whoa, wait a minute, I'm going to stop that. That's just not background. That moved me. I'm going to stop that, and I'm going to go play that back. And whoever that is, yeah, that's a good teacher for me right now. We ultimately have to come to our own pluses and minuses and results, whether it's an addition in our life or subtraction, and stop just getting divided all the time, or multiplied all the time, and we lose sight of what's more important to us. Gemini is saying to us, so make a list. It's 2026. What would be in your personal life, in your intimate life, in your private life, without, as Joe said, shaming or blaming any body size, shape, blah, blah, any of that stuff that people like to get radical about? What are the top 3 emotionally comfortable, safe, attractive qualities for you beyond the honeymoon phase, beyond, just, the sex was good, but it's always kind of good in the beginning after you get over the bumps and grinds. But no, what is important to me? Now, for a lot of air signs, like the Geminis, they run game on a lot of people. Like I've had a lot of Gemini clients, male and female, that say, one military Gemini said to me, I've gone through women just like Kleenex in a tissues and a Kleenex. And I looked at him and I said, and you're proud of that? Like, really? So, I mean, well, but I have water signs, and I'm like, how is that a banner of success? So let's see. So I looked at him, and the next time we got together, I looked at him and I said, so give me on a top 10 list, give me the people that have moved you emotionally. Like the people that really, whether they stayed or go, that you're just like, man, I am changed because of that. I learned something there. That was deep. That was rich. I said, you have lots of pretty dolls. You have lots of pretty cars in the garage, and you've touched them, and you've waxed them, and you've driven them. But who stayed? And how, that running game, and you having sexual conquest and all that, male or female, whatever kind, you just in it for those are the people that are keeping it on the surface. They're keeping it on the surface because there's something they still don't want to really get in deep with themselves, or they've been burned, or it's, what do they call that? Rebound. Sometimes we'll just go out there and have like little adult, popsicles.
The first person that stimulates them, they jump all over it, yeah.
But like Joe said, I absolutely have the air sign people in my life that if I keep them in that category of this might be interesting psychologically, they may have a really good way to put I can learn some new words. I can learn how to, be a better speaker in the room. Like that person really is good on that show, that podcast, that YouTube. So they capture my attention. And it's interesting, Joe, I was going to say some of the calls, if they don't just want to have a reading, since it's Gemini, I would love it, whether we do it this show or we plan for it for next, for people to be able to say, I'm a Libra. This is what I like about being a Libra. This is where I think I'm strong. And this is what I don't like about being a Libra, that because I didn't like it, I kind of read about it a little bit. And how do I get beyond that? So that's okay for a call too, if you decide that you really don't just need to have a card picked or some kind of message on something that's kind of, and when we get in Gemini, when we get things stuck in our mind, it's just like you got something stuck in your teeth and you can't wait to get home to the dental floss or the toothbrush. Gemini does that. It'll stick something in your nervous system. And let me tell you, you'll be a come to Jesus meeting. You'll understand how when something disturbs your force, when something is a disturbance in your spiritual atmosphere, you can go to work, you can kiss your lover goodbye, you can feed the dog, but it's with you. It's in your teeth. Your tongue's trying to get that thing out of you. It's like it's in there intellectually. And I see that darker side of Gemini as the battle between my dark self that can teach me to my dark and my light, my storms and my calms. So Gemini is that's the duality. It's going to be like, oh, you think you know yourself? Watch this. So it's teaching us, but it's in it. Air signs teach you in a very abstract, this is the meat and the potatoes. So, here's how I did it. Now how you going to do it? Ultimately, no matter who inspires us, and Gemini can be about word inspirations, language, upliftment. It's more mental and psychological journeys where Sagittarius wants to take the actual physical adventure. It's more the Robin Hood. But the idea of we the people and what idea to defend or to honor or go to war over or to stand up for in your city, in your town, Gemini would be the one leading the protesters or financing the protesters. It's like Gemini would be the one to say, how am I going to get more people to this event? So Gemini thinks more about a lot of numbers I've gone through. And I'll just leave you with this before we go to the signs. Late at night, when you were first getting into cable, before it all went kind of more satellite, you would have like at 3 o'clock in the morning, if you happen to wake up to pee or whatever, it would say, we're about to download your programming guide.
Oh, yeah.
You know, and I mean, so what's programming us? What do we see is and works with as a guide? And what's the programming that? And there's a reason why we have different. Oh, they call them channels. Different channels and different numbers to watch sports or this or that. So what channel are you focused on? What are you investing your life currency into? What are you paying attention to? Maybe in Gemini, I might strongly suggest that we do take a detox break from the thing that's been our go-to, just to like empty our head, you know, unless it's something like Sudoku or a word puzzle or, you know, switch the words around. The letters are all scrambled up. Something that might be a brain game that actually is improving you. Or nowadays we've got podcasts, you know, we've got, besides the books that we only used to have, you know, so find something that's not wasting your time. Find something that's, even if you're watching how to build a little shed, maybe you're not going to build a little shed, but it ain't going to hurt your ass to learn how they work with the concrete and what size board. Even if you never do it, it's growing new brain cells and taking you out of a very predictable, oh, it's getting boring routine that you're in. Because your first partnership is with the divine. That's your mystic marriage. Your second partnership is, how are you doing with you? Yeah, before you bring somebody else into your parade, how are you doing with you? How are you doing with your anger? How are you doing with your doubts? How are you doing with your insecurities? How you doing? How you doing? Yeah, then take it to the partner, because the more we work on ourselves, the better our partnerships are going to be, I promise.
And the lovers, so everybody, when they see the lovers card with the Gemini symbol, they automatically assume that it means like romantic relationships. But that would be more of like a Two of Cups thing. You know, absolutely. The Lover's card has a deep esoteric meaning that aligns with this archetypal energy, I guess you could say, of Gemini. Yep. So it is the alchemy between the opposites that are twin paired opposites that definitely see each other, and the sacred exchange of the information in that relationship. So whether it be male, female, your physical body, your mind, or your physical to your metaphysical, or body to spirit, it's that sacred interchange of information between those two things. And if you really study the card, you'll see that, because it's governed by the angel at the top there, you know. So it's not, the Lover's card isn't so much about, you know, romantic relationships. A lot of people think that as soon as they see it. It can be, but
it's about the politics. It's the politics of attraction. It's the politics of initiating. I'm initially attracted to that person. Wonder what's behind door number over there, because that, I'm resonating with that. And if you take I like people, no matter how many tarot decks you have, go back to the artwork of Pamela Coleman Smith, go back to the Rider-Waite deck, because you'll take that card of the sixth major triumph card of the lovers, and you'll see that couple. You'll see them again on the Devil card, and you'll see the chains at their feet. You know, they still got that male and that female and that couple, and you'll see that coupling of that. And one has to do with, as Joe was talking about, the darker archetypes, the shadow, you know, the dark archetypes, and the 12 main archetypes that tie with the signs and the seasons, the months, and also the dark archetypes, and learn that duality as well. You know, learn the duality of that. I see, on a higher level, on an esoteric level, I see the magician with a lot of Gemini Mercury energy myself. I see the magician.
Yeah, they're definitely,
I feel like that's the upper level. Yeah, that's the upper level of Gemini.
Yeah, they're definitely connected. There is a relationship, like Mary talks about, between you. People call it all kinds of stuff. Your higher self, your holy guardian angel, whatever you want to call it. Spirit, God, that relationship between you and that is when anytime you hear bridegroom or the divine marriage or anything, when you read books about, that's what they're talking about.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That holy Creator, marriage is between Spirit. You and Spirit. That's it.
Absolutely. Well, you were married in the creation. That is the Creator. Yeah. Because whatever you believe, or whatever cultural or religious precepts that you adhere to, it's going to require, if you believe in that and you say, this is what I believe, you're going to structure your life accordingly to those thoughts, when those thoughts become beliefs, when those words that come from the breath that was gifted you when you left the womb and came here, so the breath that you breathe, the air that you put into the pitch and tone and timbre of your voice, how your words are intended and how they also affect someone that you say them to externally. You write them, you do a dream journal, you do affirmations and intentions. That's all that first thing of the suit of swords, spades and regular cards. That's the air element, the way that I've learned it and I teach it. Doesn't make me right and know it all. But when you're looking at the ace of swords, I love to look at the aces that open up the seasons.
Yeah.
So the ace of swords is the ace of the air element. The ace of cups, to me, is the highest supreme love card. And most readers don't even know that. That's the ace of hearts. And then the ace of diamonds is the ace of pentacles or coins in some decks. And then the ace of wands is the ace of clubs. And then you're getting into the fire element. So if you look at the elements, it shows up in numerology and in Reiki and Qigong and martial arts and seasons and weather and celestial signs and whether colors are cool or warm or winter or summer. I mean, there's so many things that have to do with the movement of the wheel. And I would say that Gemini is also, it's the third house. So it has a lot to do with our sibling relationships, those dynamics or lack of. It has to do with cousins. It has to do with looking at your community and how, what neighbors are like, oh, I'm so glad that neighbor lives in this neighborhood. It could be so much worse. Or, God, I'll be glad when that person stops making all the noise or all the problems in this neighborhood. Like you realize that it's like the plus or the minus. So Gemini is about where you like to park your car. You know, what kind of car? If money wasn't any kind of block at all, what would be, sky's the limit, what would be the type of car that would you be a Tesla? Would you be a used Volkswagen? Would you be a Silverado truck? Would you be a definite? I mean, no, really, because Gemini is also that local travel, you know, the local travel and where we will park our cars and where we won't. Well, our body, our physical body, Taurus, our physical body, the vehicle, the spirit vehicle, the breath behind it, that's the air signs. That's the Gemini, you know.
Yeah,
so the twins are with choice.
Just don't get too Gemini and start trading your cars out every 3 months.
Right. Don't be upside down. We've all been there. I've been there where you get tired of a car. I'm trade this in. It's like, ooh, I want that. And it's like, okay, you're going to go into this upside down. That's okay. I got 0% finance.
Yeah.
So I balanced it that way.
New car.
Is that true? But a new car. I get 0% finance. Okay, I can be upside down in it because I'm going to pay this bitch off because I got 0% finance.
I mean that in the physical sense and in the kind of metaphysical sense. You know, people aren't cars. I mean, we can be uniquely like cars, vehicles. But do not treat people like cars. Like you can just trade them or wreck them or whatever. You know, like that's pretty bad.
People do it anyway because Gemini is all about choice. It's the duality of the choice.
Right.
You know, it's psychologically, Joe, sometimes when people say, I cannot believe that person I trusted played me. And it was just a game to them. And they knew that I was serious and they knew that I felt in complete loyalty and love with them, and they played with, you know, my love. They played with my feelings. Sometimes people come out of that and say, unconsciously maybe, I need to know what that feels like. Like I'm not gonna fall in love with anybody for a while, and I'm not gonna try to deliberately hurt somebody, but if they fall in love with me, you have to realize there's people out there that will avoid depth, that will avoid an authentic, psychologically healthy, whether you get angry or you take separate time, authentic psychological relationship. You will not get your way all the time. I will not get my way all the time, but I'll not be sucked in by the games. It'll be like, okay, I don't respond to anger like that.
It's a catch-22. I get it. Because see, here's the thing. Gemini does represent the power of choice. And choice is our most powerful thing on this earth. Above all things in nature, we have that power above all instinctual movements in nature. Humans do. So Gemini can really bring that out. But also, if you're manipulating everyone and lying and not telling the truth and be playing people or whatever, you're taking away their power of choice because they don't have the truth to see the choice in front of them. The scariest thing that I ever heard a person say with lots of Gemini in bad places, I would say, in their chart was I asked him, I said, this person doesn't know you're doing this. It would hurt them. Don't you think they need to know the truth? Better a bullet to the head, right, than do all this because you're going to make it worse. That way, give them the power of their choice so they can have their life back. You're messing with their will when you lie to them. Well, the scariest thing I ever heard someone say is, well, and I just let it go. I don't know why, but is, oh, I'm not worried about it. That person loves the hell out of me.
Oh, that's so narcissistic. I know people overdo that word, but that is so the choice.
They love me. That's whatever I can do. I was like, okay. That's brutal, man. You know what I mean? That's brutal.
Okay, but here's what I like right there. That story. And you said I don't know why I listened to it, but here's what I like to match what that person just said. Pretty sure it's Maya Angelou. Forgive me if I get it wrong, but her name comes up. When a person shows you who they are, believe them the first time.
Yeah. Don't think it's just something that would that was a flag too. And I was like, ooh, okay. So that love is just a tool for them to get what they want. You know, I knew it right then, but I just, I had the Aries in me. I want what I want. What I want.
The first, Well, but see, your intuition, here's the thing you can take away from that. The pearl, the oyster takes an irritation and turns it into a pearl. The pearl is the authority. The pearl of wisdom, that person's actions and lack of integrity to the other person you were considering besides yourself, because you were considering yourself and the other person that they weren't telling the truth to.
Yeah, everybody,
Yeah, truth or dare, truth or lies. And so you still took away from that, you know what, my intuition went, whoa. Like, whoa, I don't think I've ever heard those words put together like that. And you weren't joking, you meant it. So if they'll do it to them,
they'll do it to you.
They're doing it to them. They're, first of all, here's what they're blind to see, and they're not willing to look at. They've abandoned themselves. They've shut down their ability to believe that they would be worth loving, that they would be worth staying with. So they're just going to make sure that nobody ever really gets close to them. They'll have sex with them. They'll spend money on them. They'll let them spend money on them. They may cohabitate. They may have a kid. They may have a dog. They may get along with each other's parents, probably not, because the patterns are blowing up, but they're not letting anybody in. So the first person that's getting played is the game player themselves.
Amen to that. I say, without astrology aside, there is a verse in the Bible that says all liars will be cast into the lake of fire. I do not think that you're going to burn in hell for eternity. I think that it's a metaphor to tell you that God gave you the greatest power in the universe, which is choice, that has such a ripple effect, and it is your creative power. If you lie to people or shade them out or leave things out, whatever, however you're doing it, you are taking away their power to program their reality. You're putting blinders in front of them because you're a mini God too. You can't take that away. Like people think, in the spiritual realm, all the woo people like to say, well, I'm God. I am one with the Creator, and they get all hyped up about it. But you're forgetting there are 8 billion other gods around you.
Right.
And so what you need to understand is if you want to say you're one with God, then act like one.
Then walk with integrity.
God would never blind anybody that way. Not a real God.
Is your God? I wouldn't do that, because I think when someone is a more seasoned, I hate to use the word advanced, or more experienced soul, for whatever reason, they've usually had a hell of a lot of kicks in the ass, losses, had to work harder to survive to get to the level of thrive, and so they've been through the paths of pain and the journeys of loss in order to say. And I say this often, and man, is it true? Did that make me bitter, or did that make me better? And when you can get out of bitter and get to doing better, representing yourself better, knowing that if you lie deliberately to somebody, number one, the biggest deception is you've got on a mask, and they're getting to know you, so they think, and they're not even getting to know you. They're getting to know your costume. They're getting to know, whatever little costume you want to throw out there, archetype or whatever it is, and you're running games, so you never really gave a shit about that person as a friend, or as a potential lover, they were just there. It's just another chess piece for you on the board, or checkers, or whatever it is that you're playing. So it's like, yeah, no. Yeah, no. So
Now, I will say this:
for that.
women and children, whatever. Like, I'm not saying we all do it sometimes, but here's the thing: like, if you're going to do it, save it for the right time. Like, if you're in a situation where you know if you tell the truth, some guy's about to beat the hell out of you or do something extremely crazy. Is he really going to do that, or are you just afraid of it? At some point, you got to face your fear. But there are, I'm not with perfect Gemini energy here. I'm not judging. What I'm saying is just think about that. And then when you do lie, make sure it's for the best, like the damnedest, greatest reason in the world, because it's a really hurtful
what's
thing.
The intention? Yeah, what's the intention? Was it to save your child or your dog, or yeah.
Yeah, because I mean,
it always goes back. It always goes back to integrity and intention. Is this the best choice? Is this the overall? Yeah, your circumstances certainly would affect that situation. Absolutely. And Gemini is about that choice. So I think that Gemini absolutely gives us the intuitive acumen. It raises our game to be able to process very quickly. It's ruled by Mercury. Very quickly, okay, what's the atmosphere? What's the situation? That person over there is angry. That person over there is drunk. That person over there is scared of that person over there. So I'm just going to kind of maneuver and be a watcher in this situation and feel intuitively, am I being called into this, or am I just supposed to learn? You know, I'm just going to, Gemini can also be a witness.
yeah.
Not only the witness to a crime, but therapist or the guy at Lowe's or the grocery store that is the bearer, Mercury, the bearer of information that helps you not buy the wrong cut of meat, or, oh, yeah, this is on sale over here. So, yeah, I love those people, those salespeople that come up and say, oh, I see you're looking at the Carhartt sweatshirts. That back wall over there, we only have that sale twice a year. That back wall over there, they're like 30% off. Well, Carhartt runs about $59. I'm like, I'm going to the back wall. I'm going to get the same sweatshirt for, $30. I'm walking. So, yeah, it's like the teller that helps you when you get confused with the paperwork at the bank or the computer techie people. Yeah, but the minus of abundant information coming at you like that might be when you trust AI a little too much and you're beginning to procrastinate and get lazy, and you're not getting that brain stimulation that you need. So I would say the balance, of course, the win-win is the balance, to balance both sides of what's new in tech and what's old-fashioned and valuable, so we don't just erase the truth and the stories and the empowerments that our ancestors had and that are timeless, birthless, and deathless. That's the higher vibe of Mercury anyway. And so right now, as we go to the signs, Mercury is in the sign of Cancer. It's in the sign of the moon. So Gemini, the communicator, Mercury, can help us journal, have really, really powerful, intuitively strong visionary dreams. We could be journeying. It's Gemini. You know, I want the intellectual. You know, I want to. What does the pirate seek? You know, why does the pirate seek to go solitary out for some possible, not guaranteed treasure? You know, why do people want to go to Egypt and walk the pyramids? What is it that makes people want to skydive? What is it that makes people foster animals in needs? What is it that drives them intellectually to prioritize that? Gemini, back to Joe's point, what is it that makes us do our top 10 choices? You know, my choice in a relationship is always going to be, I will be loyal. That's important to me. If they don't prioritize loyalty, I'm wasting my time, because I'm not going to return the favor if they're disloyal or they're, you know, choosing to be a disingenuous person as a friend or a lover. Access denied. You know, instead of the F you, I do access denied. So it's just like, okay, that's okay. You go be you. You don't get me. Yeah, you go do you, because that you do, yeah, that's not good with my higher spiritual self over there, and I'm not willing to get bitter. I'm working on being the better, best version of myself. So I think I'll finish it with Gemini energy with that overall in our charts. Gemini asks us, do you feel that at this moment, not about money, not about your job, do you feel that you're able to be the better, best version of yourself at that work with that person? And don't just blame the job, and don't just blame the person's attitude or the people that you're dealing with as customers or clients. Are you getting complacent? Are you doing the best version of yourself if you're going to bother to be in that relationship or that job or whatever, whatever. So I think that we have to work on our own distracted elements, our own boredom elements. It's like if somebody's talking to you, hear out what they have to say. It's not that they're being boring. They might be on a loop, but you might say to them, yeah, we talked about that one time, and I've only got so much time for that. I hope you find a solution to that, or go get some help with that, or find the right people to help you through it. You don't just keep letting the person take your time with the same old again and again, and they've not made any kind of significant shift or change at all. They're just, once again, finding another person, you or it could be the 5 other people telling the same story, the same frustration in their relationship, the same irritation at their job, but they're not willing to do really anything to try to affect some type of a more positive change. So yeah, no, you have to be able to set a boundary. Gemini, the strength of Gemini is the psychological strength to go, yeah, that's not good for me. Yeah, at a time in my life I used to do that, but yeah, I don't go to extremes anymore. I've been there, done that, put the t-shirt on, then took it back, got my money back. So that's really strong. But Gemini can be the different specialist, the plumber, and you learn something about lumber and all that. Whenever you're going on a quest for knowledge, those people that help teach you about, no, you want pine or do you want cedar? Maybe you want white oak. They can be the people, that plant needs sun, that plant needs shade. They can teach you very valuable pieces of what they spent decades studying. But as a student, don't you and I have to choose what we're really willing to pay attention to, or are we going to waste their time, or are we going to let our time get wasted? Because Mercury, even though time is an illusion, basically, Mercury says, how come you still sitting here? How come you still sitting here? Or how come you don't return the favor and let them know, hey, that really helped me. You're really smart. And I felt like I was at a fireside, a fire circle. Well, I just got to be myself. We just got to hang out and talk. We need to get, like Joe's talking about, when it felt safe to walk the streets.
Yeah, or just stop. Yeah, just live freaking life again, man.
What's a nice thing called sit in a rocking chair?
Yeah, like just live again.
Yeah, live before it's over, before it's over.
Yeah, we definitely, speaking of time being an illusion, we definitely need to go through the signs because we're like an hour and 20 in to enter the message part.
So I'm going to prioritize on the podcast. I'm going to prioritize the ones that it hits the most on the element. So it's in Gemini. And the ones that are going to get the longer, so we're going to go to the reading so you can call in or whatever you want to do. But the 4 main signs that this super new moon mainly spotlights and puts up on the billboard are Gemini, its opposite balance sign of Sagittarius, Virgo, also ruled by Mercury, and Pisces. Those 4 signs, whether it's your rising or your sun sign, you guys are in the main thing for the next 2 weeks. So if you're a Gemini, again, happy birthday, happy solar return. Make your affirmations that, yeah, this is an important time. So for Gemini, you're in the main spotlight, but we're going to start with Aries. So for Aries, this is a 3rd house, Aries rising, Aries sun. This is a 3rd house stimulant. Well, now Mercury in Gemini rule the 3rd house in the natural wheel. So this is a very active time for Aries, and I feel like that, Aries, you're about to realize how many answers have been sitting at the table or right in front of you for a while. So the strange part with this Gemini magic is they aren't necessarily going to arrive through meditation, intuition, or some huge gobsmack breakthrough, Aries. I think it's just going to show up by somebody mentioning something in passing, conversation at work, out of the mouth of babes, those kind of things, a random TikTok, a text message, the lyrics of a song that comes up and go, whoa, or an animal messenger shows up. So 3rd house is how Spirit, divine source, is wanting to communicate with you, Aries, in a more lively, witty, alchemical, shape-shifting kind of way. So for Aries, I'm excited because Saturn and Neptune are in Aries. For Aries, I'm excited that the Pluto in Aquarius and now the Gemini supermoon, which is the sun and moon, both highlighting that. Mars is getting ready to shift into Gemini somewhere around the 19th of June. So there's some Gemini energy, the Pluto and Aquarius energy, and this Aries energy that are now going, yeah, we can ride together because we're all going to get along. So there's a lot of stuff getting along for you, Aries. And so whatever Saturn, the great karmic sheriff, the taskmaster, is wanting in Aries to shed that old version of themselves, now Mercury and this Gemini supermoon are saying to you, let me show you some really cool crap in your dream. Let me just go, if you'll just go sit down in nature and look at the stars and meditate for a few minutes and slow your breathing down, and I'll give you a download. I can give you a recipe here, Aries. And Aries would like it that way because Aries likes unique and rapid fire. And God, just give me the answer and then I'll get over myself. So for Aries, it's very stimulating intellectually. Yeah. And so I think because Aries often when they get frustrated or too tired or bored, then the anger comes up and that becomes their Gemini expression. And Gemini's like, no. We need something that's got frivolity and the juggler is here and the minstrel is playing and you're in a Renaissance fair. And yeah, just let it happen, Aries. Just let your angels and your guides take over because we got some cool ways we can, you talk about a video game, we got some cool things we can project you in your dreams. And if you fall asleep in a chair or you sit outside under the stars and just breathe and watch the fireflies, yeah, just go out there and we'll work with us, Aries, work with us. So and it'll be fast. And Aries likes things coming in fast so they know their footing. If you're a Taurus, this Gemini supermoon is lighting up the second house unit, has a lot to do with your resources, what you deem as valuable. And what's happening, since Mars has been in Taurus, in your sign, you're noticing that your partnership with finance, your relationship with money, has some emotions in it in ways you didn't fully realize. Like you thought you were just, okay, here's $1,000 for that, and okay, I'll help you do that, and that's a loan or that's a gift or whatever that is. And then you realize it was a bunch of like broken glass that was lying around and you didn't need the pieces to cut you. So with Taurus, they're in a kind of like a spiritual schooling with this Gemini. Gemini is always the student and the teacher. So Taurus right now is being taught and in school with, and also then having to turn around and teach a lesson back to the person that was the student that skipped school or the student that broke the rules and, deliberately did something that they knew was wrong. So Taurus is looking at the underneath of a transaction. So it could be people talking to you about a loan or an investment. You might want to be buying something, leveling up that way. But there's a moment, Taurus, where you look at your own accounts, you look at the pricing structures, the cost per your energy, and whether you're good with it mentally or emotionally, the business model or income stream or whatever. You're going to see, Taurus, that Gemini is wanting to show you that something probably isn't working as efficiently as it could, or the timing's just not quite right. And the good news is the fix will become obvious once you stop avoiding it. Yeah, once you stop avoiding it, because that's the shift that's coming next. Taurus, as Mars is moving out of your sign, which has the intensity level, but it's going to move into Gemini. So Mars soon is going to be speeding up things in that whole, is it a loan? Is it a credit? Is it a debit? And is that person a debit in my life, even though I gave them credit with my trust and what I deemed valuable? So if you're Gemini, this is the first house supermoon, and this sets a tone, because there's a new moon in Gemini every year, but it's a supermoon. So the moon is closer to Earth, and the planet that rules your sign, Gemini and Virgo, is in the sign of the moon right now. So where you normally want to skip the surface and swim quickly instead of going underwater for a long time, you're being faced with your uncomfortable zone, Gemini, and you're running into people and situations that are making you feel some kind of way, and that's uncharted territory for you, because Geminis, you feel very slick and quick-witted and savvy with how you can light the room up when you walk in, kind of maneuver the atmosphere, instigate things, and then walk away in the background or go be talking to somebody else after you got somebody else promised and going and all that. So Gemini lights 5 candles, lights 5 candles, and then lets the people stare at the candlelight while they're busy going off and doing something else, probably getting a flashlight. So for Gemini right now, the force is going to make you slow down and have to look at the depth of something more, and it's going to have you look at the after effects of your behaviors. Yeah, the choices of your behaviors. So somebody may unexpectedly, Gemini, tell you either how much you've influenced them, friend, follower, coworker, client, or stranger, but I feel like there's some kind of maybe a multiple romantic option was working because you didn't promise one person more than the other, or multiple opportunities or multiple directions competing for attention at the same time.
Oh,
Your
Jesus.
challenge, Gemini, isn't scarcity, it's discernment. I'm going to say that again, Gemini, because I'm going to tell you right now, any Gemini I've ever met, male or female, could really benefit by studying discernment. Yeah.
And learn
Like,
the
that's your
value
hallmark.
of a single relationship. I don't just mean romantic, like how valuable another person is besides just you.
Yep. So if you're Cancer the Crab, Father's Day, June 21st, you start your season for 2026. But this is your womb time. You're not going to spend a lot of time on it. You are in labor. And once we get to June 21st, that's the birth of the moon child. That's the birth of the baby. But there is still the link, the vulnerability of the newborn creature with the nutrients of the mother's milk or the umbilical cord. And so it's like, okay, I'm coming from that fleshy fluid birth into, I'm breathing, I got to breathe oxygen. I'm in a completely different space. And so there's that labor into birth type of thing that's going on for the sign of Cancer right now. It's softened somewhat by the fact that Mars has been in Taurus, but you still got those bounces of the square of Neptune in Aries and Saturn in Aries saying poking at you. So it's got to do with Cancer. The stuff that you deem valuable often has to be tied to the past or your childhood or the family home, all the pluses or minuses with that. But it's also time, every once in a while, you got to update things, like get the couch reupholstered or go buy a different antique, or for God's sakes, freshen up your wardrobe or your hairstyle. So there's something to do with Cancer right now is in a process of sleep learning or sleep deprivation. I feel like the Cancerians are kind of like going through a little bit of like, I really need to sleep. Maybe I've just got my circadian rhythms off and I'm really tired during the day and I want to sleep at night, or your job requires you different odd hours like that. But right for the next 2 weeks, not a long time, and especially Wednesday and Thursday of this coming up week, like new moon, we're talking here on June 15th. So by the time we get to that 17th, 18th, right around in there, when we've got that Venus in Leo is going to oppose Pluto and Aquarius, now that's going to hit every sign, okay? But for Cancerians, because things are shifting into your sign, I would say just take it easy on yourself. Don't overcommit your nurturing capabilities, and let other people take up a lot of time when you yourself, this is your cycle before your birthdays, this is your cycle to look at your old year. So Gemini finishes out last year for the sign of Cancer, so that you're coming into your new year. The Cancerian New Year starts at the solstice point. So that's a time where you're going to get very clarified answers. If you're Leo, Leo, you're dealing with this dynamic of who's really the best types of people to be partying with, hanging out with, and is it leading you to your shadow side or risk-taking or potential addiction or problems with the law? It's like you got to look at who you're hanging with, and the Gemini part for you, Leo, is what are you being influenced by? Now, for Leos, of course, that aren't just locked into that preteen up until about 20-year-old, or you got parents that are dealing with that age range, the Leos that are, let's say, beyond 30, the Leos now with Venus and Leo are looking at, what I want to do more of that, because that is soothing to me, that is healthy for me, that is something that I put off for a long time, and now it's my turn to do that for me. So that's what it is. So Leo, it's about, Mars is going to pop into Gemini, then it's going to go into Cancer for about a month, and it's going to hit Leo this year in 2026. So right now, with Mars getting out of a square to you, Leo, it's going to go into Gemini. So it wants you to take everything you learned since the summer of last year, 2025, and what's working, What did you improve, and what did you realize? It's okay if I declutter that thought closet, and I need to give those things to Goodwill or Salvation Army or the thrift store. You need to go into the closet of your mind from the summer of 2025, Leo, and you need to clear it out. So if you're Virgo, you're one of the 4 signs it really hits. So if you're a Virgo, this is 10th house. Everything has to do with you allowing yourself to what's making you profit. If you've held on to the car for a long time, sell it. If you really wanting to buy something else before you have to do it because that breaks down or the siding cracks on the house or whatever, take the money that you've saved and that you denied yourself for, Virgo, and go ahead and do that home improvement or go ahead and do that investment. And sell, when you sell something, Virgo, go ahead and invest in something else that would be an improvement by your standards, Virgo, by your standards of that car or that porch or that rug or that new bedroom set comforter or paying off a charge card or whatever it is. For Virgo right now, it's got more to do with the management and the scrutiny of the financial plan, not the amount. I'll say it again. It's not the a lot of money or I don't have enough money dynamic for Virgo right now. It's got to do with, are you balancing the fact that I saved $20,000, so now I can afford to do that home improvement? But a lot of Virgos that I know, even though the home improvement is like fabulous and wonderful, they have this thing that's like, oh God, now I don't have the $20,000 anymore. Did you look at the new thing? Like, there it is. So it's not a need anymore. I think the Gemini new moon also should teach all of us that maybe we worry, and then when something really good happens, why do we zoom past that so quickly? We spend so much time in the why and the worry, and I feel like, same like with you saying, Joe, that it's a safe, wonderful street just to watch people walking down the street and be in harmony. I think that's where our mind needs to go. Yeah. So if you're Libra, easy moon, not spending a lot of time with you, it's your 9th house. Study it. Read it. What's uplifting your spirit? What's better for you psychologically? Could you actually benefit by just taking a little mini vacation or just get away? You know, do the bucket list or the dream trip or whatever it is, because you're in your 9th house and that's more favorable for you. And all this Gemini stuff and this Pluto and Aquarius stuff is helping soothe Saturn and Neptune opposing you, because a lot of Libras are going to be dealing with relationship understanding. So am I in a position I want to give more, or am I in a position that I feel like true love or true companionship would be like nobody resents giving to me? They see the value of me. I certainly love giving to them when I have somebody valuable in my life. So Libras are kind of doing a little bit of like, I want to get off the seesaw on the roller coaster, and I want to be able to be in the cart with the person that I care about together on the ride, not just spin zone. If you're Scorpio, it's 8th house. That's easy peasy for you. That's
where you belong.
Yeah. So Scorpios, look, just trust your instinct. I really just need to say that to Scorpio. I think the only warning I would say, Scorpio, or notice is that your tolerance for emotional inconsistency is dropping rapidly.
Stop putting up
maybe
with
once
it.
felt, access denied.
Yeah,
what once felt exciting. Yeah, it can be exhausting. So just don't spend all your energy, Scorpio, trying to understand people, here's the caveat, who refuse to want to understand themselves. Next. Okay, so Sagittarius, big supermoon for you. It's 7th house, and you're processing your intimate life. You're processing the so's, my word for are any significant others, grandkids, kids, whatever you consider the key person you work with, whatever, people that you have. So Sagittarius right now is looking at, if I look at myself, if I put the old saying, put yourself in another person's shoes. If I put myself in the position of that other person, would I feel like this was a fair comeback or a fair proposal to me? So Sagittarius right now, the simplest way I can put it is your time of year to really focus on you. Sagittarius is late November, first 2.5 weeks of December. This is your time of the year to look at who you are cohabitating with, who you are in partnership with, how are they doing? And the best way for you to win on what could be a potentially opposing difficult cycle, Sag, is to kind of put yourself on the shelf a little bit. Don't be abused or mistreated in any way. but kind of just say, let me just check with my mom or my partner or my boss. Let me just check with them first. Let me make sure I let them know they're a priority in my life for a reason. Maybe things we have to work on, but I still want you as a priority in my life. So who and why are they a priority in your life? If you're Capricorn, this is focus on your wellness, your health, your daily routine. It could be a cycle of a pet shows up, you help a pet into a foster home, you help a pet to the shelter, you help your own pet more holistically instead of just running up a big veterinarian bill, because like Big Pharma, in my opinion, I've been working with animals all my life, and I volunteered for free to work at 3 different veterinarians over time so I could learn what goes on behind the scenes and learn some things that, I would have to go to school for to help my animals that I rescue and all. And I can tell you, the veterinarian clinics that have gone into partnership, like Big Pharma and the insurance companies manipulating the doctors, that's going on with them right now. So don't just jump just to not do research holistically as well as with a good veterinarian, because right now they've got a foot on their neck right now. Yeah, with what the pharmaceutical companies and some of the cities and states are saying, we got too many dogs and cats anyway, so give them those shots and make sure they get all 14 shots and do this and give them those, don't tell them that those flea medications can cause seizures and all that. Yeah, when you go through that with an animal and you have that awareness wake up with you, I'm going to save you a lot of sorrow. Take some time, Gemini, study and learn and be taught some of the holistic things you can do for the cats and the dogs. So that's around Capricorn too. Like, you love the animal once you've had it bred or got it from the shelter. It's a stray that you adopted, so you're its caretaker. It's your animal totem. And so for Capricorn, they take things seriously that they let come into their life. If you're an Aquarius, again, air sign, easy time for you, except Aquarius always thinks they're right. So you might find that in your love affairs. And I think with Aquarius, it might be the grandkids, the stepkids, or the kids. It's the kids might be bucking up because you got, Pluto and Aquarius. And, I hear a lot of Aquarians doing I can hear the country way it was said to me when I was a kid, and the Spitz Aquarius is what my guides are saying. You'll think, when that relative looks at you and you're acting up, I said, stop. I said, no. No is a complete sentence. But the scariest one for me was when they'd look at me and go, you'll think. I sat the hell down. That's just as country as it gets. Boom. No matter how willful I was, if they got to, now I'm going to tell your dad or your mom, I saw what you just did. You'll think. That did it for me. That was like that. That's karmic flames, everything right there. Finally, Pisces. Pisces is challenged by Gemini, but they stimulate each other intellectually. So the Pisces writers, the Pisces song, the scripts, the lyrics, the poems, I'm going to write a ghost paranormal story. I'm going to do a podcast, but it's more to do with what's my bullet points, what's the contract, how am I going to agree to this or what? So it's the stimulation for Pisces. It's 4th house, so it's foundational with you. You might add a new person into your apartment or household area. There might be a new loving interest that comes in that way. A great difficulty for your parent or a child, a relative that's concerned you. Something might be finally resolved. Gemini could bring the energy to get resolution for that, and it could have gone on for 18 months. The nodes have been North nodes in Pisces, South node in Virgo. So the mutable signs of Gemini, Sagittarius, Virgo, and Pisces. For the last 18 months, it's been the eclipses and the North nodes in Pisces. That's shifting to Aquarius, Leo this year. So Aquarius and Leo, yeah, write this down. Yeah, come July, yeah, there's a new spotlight on you. But right now, it's finishing up with Gemini, Sag, and especially Virgo and Pisces. So there's light here. You've come out of the tunnel. There's light here, especially for you Pisces and Virgo, and I see you being able to realize the bigger part of accepting majestic manifestation is for you to realize that you're worth it. You're worthy of it, and it's your time. This supermoon for Pisces and Virgo could be, you know what? It's my time not to expect others to do it for me. It's my time for me to look in the mirror, for me to close my eyes and to say, I am worth it. I don't have to keep proving that by overdoing for other people. I'm worth it. I'm worth it. The affection that I've been needing, I've got to love myself inside myself now. I know I already am a good person, and I already do deserve to have this create in my life, because a lot of people don't realize that they're really hard on themselves. And Gemini could bring that up for people too, Joe. Gemini could bring up, finally, maybe a script that we've been running in the background in our subconscious, because that's our recorder and it comes from our childhood and all that. Maybe we need to dive a little bit into what are my subconscious patterns, and maybe I could do some, meet my shadow, shake its hand and say, thank you for being a teacher. Now go on. I don't want to have to learn it with that frustration and that difficulty anymore. I really want to learn my lessons and accept them in harmony and in prosperity, and to know that I deserve it. I don't have to prove I'm a good person. Those are the steps I chose to take. Discernment, and choice, as Joe said. The choices. I'm choosing. It might be harder at first, but I'm gonna choose to be the better energy, because I want to see where that takes me with my soul. I'm going to go through some tough times, and I know it. Some people are going to walk away, but I need to look in the mirror and go, yep, I cared enough to be true. I cared enough to teach that person, no matter how they treated me, integrity, and that what I said was what I meant, because the dark side of Gemini is I'll give you all the words just to wet you down and suck you up and rub your neck and kiss your hair. But I don't mean any of it. I'm just going to give you a good time tonight. Versus, wow, that person didn't just throw words at me like a lasso or a fish hook. That person, even though I got pissed at them, even though I didn't get my way out of it, that person, what they said was what they were and how they were, and they didn't let me manipulate them, and they didn't try to manipulate me. That's what you see is what you get. How many people do you know that what you see is really what you're going to get? Yeah, takes strength. Takes strength, and that's the higher part of Gemini. That's Mercury.
Worth finding, definitely worth finding.
Which is what I said at the beginning of the show, which is when you were talking about Brent Thomas. I'm telling you, let someone's passing from the earth be a mile marker for you, not to just take for granted that people pass away at all kinds of ages. They think about death maybe more when they get close to 90 or. But people, I'm looking at a lot of younger people, 25 and 36, and it's a motorcycle or whatever, and I'm like, whoa, 19. So age is no guarantee of the transitional death process. So when someone that touches your life suddenly seems to take off, and you don't even know why they did, but they were there. They did a show, like Brent did a show like the day before, and then he left. So there's some famous thing going on the internet right now where this guy does food things. It's somebody and their mom. I don't know how they haven't taken it down, but they die on air with their mother. So they do like a little foodie show, and he's making chicken salad. You can Google it. Who's the guy that just died with his mom doing chicken? And I said, oh my God, I cannot watch that. I mean, it touched me so that his mother was, all of a sudden he's talking, he's doing it. Apparently he's done this podcast with his mom for a long time. And he's cutting up little pieces of chicken, and all of a sudden his eyes glaze, and he says, I don't feel so good. And she's, I think she said, I don't know if it's Bill or Bob. And then he just slumps over. He just slumps over, and his mom starts screaming. Yeah. And so I'm not telling you to watch it. I'm just telling you it was so weird that, you know how they take things down. I mean, you say the wrong word and YouTube will take you down. So it's bizarre to me that that's on there. And I think she's done another YouTube, I Will Always Remember You, Your Mom, or something like that. And I'm like, whoa. So, I mean, the guy dies. Right there on the YouTube, he dies.
Cardiac arrest or something.
Something, yeah. But anyway, so when you see that, like, that's not something I would go look at. But when it's brought to you, it's just like the reality of, like, that animal's here today, that person's here today, and then they're gone. So Gemini is one of the present tense signs. So it reminds us, like in Buddhism, and in some of the Hindu philosophies, the moment right now, Joe and I, if you're hearing this right now, if you play it later on the YouTube replay, right now, Spirit is feeding you. Spirit is feeding you. Spirit is wanting you just to really be in this moment with Joe and I and the audience listening, and know that you are love. You were created with love and light. Earth is a school where we're going to have all kinds of choices, and we're going to put our foot probably in the potential drowning waters of shadows and darkness and temptation and wrongdoing. And we either learn from that by learning how we are when we're like that, and we succumb to that and we get hooked by that, versus the powerful, loving, innocent warrior of light that we are. And we say, no, I'm not going to let that earth habit get me. I'm not going to let that person eclipse my life. I am spirit. I am one with spirit. As Joe and I said, I am married to the divine forces that chose to breathe life and my soul into this vehicle of my human body temple. And for some people, it feels like a prison house of skin and bones and pain. And other people, it feels like, well, I like my body when I'm this skinny or I'm that fat or whatever. I have my Botox or I get my fake eye. No.
Get off of Instagram immediately. Get off of Facebook.
Oh, yeah.
If you're thinking that stuff.
Yeah. Just, I would like you, without even looking in the mirror, to just feel yourself in this moment and just really let the waterfall of all the things that you already know, that you made the choice to be the best part that you could do, even if it was some kind of loss. You stood up for yourself. You stood up for the right thing. You know, it's almost like that old Saturday Night Live skit where they said, "Damn it, I'm because I'm good enough and people like me." You know, that guy that Stewart would have been. So you would look at the mirror and it was like self-therapy. It was great comedy, but it also had a whole lot of truth. So how about if you take a couple of moments each day for the next 2 weeks before we get to the full moon on June 29th and 30th in Capricorn, ruled by Saturn. So yeah, pay attention while it can be fun, and make it a game and make it fun. Of each day for the next 14 days, I'm going to find a celebration of life in my daily world. I'm going to remember somebody that touched my life, whether they're alive or they've transitioned. I'm going to remember that pet. I'm going to remember that teacher. I'm going to remember some of my whimsical, rowdy times as a student, but I'm going to bring it into this moment right here. Right here, every day, I'm going to look at what's good in my life. What helped strengthen me, and I'm going to pat myself on the back from like, damn, man, that was a rough ride. You got thrown off the saddle, but by God, you got back up in the saddle and said, you know what? It's so overused. What doesn't kill you can make you stronger. Yep, it can. It can.
All right.
And Gemini's all about the message. What's the message? You know, like I said, you know, like if you want to call up and talk about your sign and say, like we were talking about Gemini, you know, let me tell you what seems to be rough about being a Sagittarius that I've seen, or let me tell you what's strong about being a Cancerian and ruled by the moon. I mean, I think that your conversation, maybe about what you like about your sign and maybe with what you struggle about your sign, is a fun topic for you to help you learn a little bit more about the signs and wonders.
That'd be a good idea. We'll take thanks, Mary, for that. We'll take a short break, and then we'll switch over to the phone lines if anybody wants to call in, and then we'll wrap it up after that. So take advantage. We'll be right back here with Mary Dusina, obviously, and then the call-in number's on the screen. It should be, if everything works perfectly, it should be what it says there on the screen, if you can read that. Because I got the new phone system, 940-374, and what's the last four? It just dipped out on me. You'll see it when it pops up. I'll put it in the chat, too. There it is, 6435, 940-374-6435. Give us a couple minutes. We'll get it on. We'll be right back with Mary Dusina. right. So we're back. We're going to be taking your calls, 940-374-6435. If you want to speak with Mary Dusina, get your free reading here online. Maybe pull a card, whatever you'd like to say. Maybe mention what she said before too. If there's something you don't like about your sign or something that frustrates you about the whole deal, you could definitely say how you feel. And we have, I believe, Morgan from Louisiana on the line. Morgan, you there?
I'm here, y'all.
Good.
I love her accent. I love your accent. And you're laughing.
Thank you, Mary. Okay, I wanted to say two things real quick, just and then I'll have you pull a card, Mary.
Okay.
So I think so I'm a Leo, and of course, a lot of astrologers, especially if you follow them on social media, that they've been hyping us Leos up, like this is going to be the year, this is going to be the year. And the first 5-6 months has been sort of a shit show. But what I think is what I have learned through this is like, for me personally, I've had to become more honest with like, okay, so I'm an artist, I do art full time. I've had to become more honest with my patrons, like, hey, this is going to take me some time. But I had to like sort of set my old self on fire to learn how to communicate better, and through that fire, this like, how when a campfire is going out and it's just the embers kind of glowing through. I feel like now, like I'm in that glowing, and that it won't be smoked out, but even my patrons are in that glow. They're like, okay, all right, we understand. Thank you for your honesty. And now the blessings are coming. But I had to let the fire, I had to burn the ego. And so for any Leo, I think maybe that'll help you. And then I feel like for the first time I'm coming into my year of blessings, because I've been blessed by so many people, and so now it will be my turn. So I just had to lay that out there.
That's going to be so helpful to Leos out there. Part of in astrology, the short answer is when the sun, because it rules Leo, or Venus or Jupiter, what they call the great benefics, when they move into your sign, like Jupiter only goes into Leo, goes into our sign once every 12 years. It's going into your sign, Leo, on June 30th, whatever time zone you're in, June 30th, July 1st, and it's going to stay there for a year.
Yeah.
That expands. Now, if someone is a meth addict and Jupiter goes into Leo and they're a Leo meth addict, it's going to expand the problem in order to ultimately get them unleashed. Yeah. So like you said, the fire of burning the old self. I love that you used fire, and Leo's the fire sign. The other thing is that Venus in your sign, so we've got, by the time we get to June 30th, Venus doesn't go out of Leo until like the 10th of July. So there's 9-10 days that I would, Morgan, pay attention to who's getting in touch with me. I'm not giving them more power over other people, but just bear witness without any kind of decision judgment. Bear witness to what and who is wanting to lean in and appreciate, expand you. It could literally be they don't know. They just connected A to B. And there's something about the expansion factor that's where your discernment will come in. What do I want to see expand? Which is why a lot of older astrologers learned that when Jupiter goes into your sign once every 12 years, you might put on a little weight, because it might be that it's just like, you know what, I'm making more money, and damn it, I want the Cherries Jubilee. I don't normally pay $15 for Cherries Jubilee, but I want to do that, or the flan, or whatever it is. So it's the sweet spot of life. It's the desserts, or it's like I can afford to have over a few friends, and I want to finance a nice dinner for them. Yeah, something like that. So it's going to be about Leo. Leo likes to do it big. Leo likes to do regal things. And so the very thing that you said, you know what, I've noticed the blessings are coming. You decided you were worth it and you stood up for yourself. And because I've been blessed, that's the automatic higher side of Leo. I'm about to bless some people too, because it feels great to be able to have enough money to tithe to someone or to buy that thing that painter, I can afford that painter. Damn, they're good. Or I'm going to get my chart done. Or I'm going to tithe to that podcast. It feels good to do that. And like I remind people all the time, you may not tithe because you think, well, $5 isn't that much. Well, let 100 people tithe $5. You know what I mean? It's like, we need to do more of that $5 and $10 because we had to spend more than that at the grocery store, at the gas station, and we can part with that 5 or 10 and not be hurtful most of the time. And if you have power in numbers, and that's where I go back to we the people.
Yes, I agree. Yes. Pull a card. All
right. I will do it. There's a deck two decks that I'm working with. One comes with a book called The Bestiary, and it's really cool by Maya Toll. She does herbs and things like that. And in there you pulled, it's called Get Creative. Okay, so you're an artist, and you pulled the Screech Owl as the totem, the Screech Owl. I love, there's different kinds of owls, but I love how it scares people when they hear a Screech Owl outside, because I live in the mountains, when you hear that, I
just dealt with that myself, right above your head. That's scary sometimes.
I love it. I have teased many a tourist that came into the mountains that lived at the beach, and they're like, I think I heard Sasquatch. I said, did you? And I said, it's purported to be. I mean, it kind of go like, oh, no, yeah. And I said, might be in the sky, might be in the tree, but it definitely was meant for thee. And then they get even more creeped out, and they're like ready to go back from the B&B, and I'm good with that because it makes less people in the mountains. So, that's selfish, and I admit it.
Whatever.
So, with the card that you got out of the other deck, now this is a deck that most people don't know about. It's called the Oracle of the Hidden Worlds. And Lucy Cavendish used one of my favorite artists, Gilbert Williams' artwork in this book, The Oracle of the Hidden Worlds. And you got the Stonehenge card. It's called the Liminal Dance. And it's a number 8. Oh, gee, Leo, the 8th sign, strength and material. And it's delicacy, our fragile self, and also the transience, the ability to know that sometimes I am that gusty wind before a storm, and sometimes I just want to sit back. I literally don't need to be at the ocean. I want to hear the babbling brook, or I just want to hear the creek. There's a different water sound to that. So I would say for you, since you're Leo, the sign before you is the moon, Cancer the crab. I think you should find, even if it's on YouTube or I think you should, or a podcast like Spotify or something, I think you should go on for water sounds and go to sleep with a meditation venue that's water sounds. And find the one you like. It might be a storm, it might be rain, it might be the ocean, it could be the babbling brook, but I would do that. I think that's really going to nourish you over the next couple of weeks.
Okay, perfect. I think that'll be wonderful. Well, thank you. I appreciate it very much. And I'll be tithing to you and Joe soon, because I've been listening to you guys now for about 7 or 8 years, however long y'all have been doing this.
Good deal.
Wow, thank you.
That's good.
Sure, and I've sometimes I've only been able to send like $2 every now and then, and it doesn't. I'm like, this ain't gonna make a difference.
Hey,
yes, it does.
Listen,
yes,
it does because I've got $5.74 left on my phone system, but that's why we switched over. So every little bit helps. Trust me. I'm just telling you right now.
We found a way.
I'm telling you right now, times are brutal. It's tough all the way around for everybody. So.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep. Well, y'all are doing great work, and I appreciate it, and I also appreciate you taking the time to do this, because we do live in a world. Seriously, this economy, my Lord,
Yeah.
Yeah, Joe and I have fought to do it pro bono. We have fought. He's got equipment. He's got bills. I do too. And it's like, most of the time people go to a psychic or an astrologer when there's a crisis in their life. And for years I trained to people in Florida, you need to get a reading every 6 months when things are going good, so you don't get in the crisis. Hello, and they got it in Florida. It takes a little longer elsewhere. I'm like, you're only going to spend, like under $200, like twice a year. Like, really? And you know what happened? Just like you, people started saying to me, oh my God, the money you saved me by helping me not make that decision. I'm like, yeah, I always want to help people to get in touch with their own guides. It's like, yeah, that's what Joe and I do. It's like whatever we do that's divinatory, the bigger piece of that is, and you have this too. You can do this too. It's not the cards. It's not the chart. It's lighting up areas when you get into a shadow world that can be tools and the mechanics of you getting into your higher self. We all have it. Some people prioritize it more than others. Yeah.
Well,
Thank you for seeing us.
Yes, and real quick, what you said about like Leos, we can either take our shadow side and flame that fire, or we can level up. And here in Louisiana, Mary, we like to have a little drink every now and then.
That's not all you like to do in Louisiana. That's not all that happens in Louisiana. There's drinks happen everywhere.
I got some cousins in Malvern, Joe. I know.
Oh shit. Okay.
So we can either take that, we can either focus on like, if I'm feeling low about a painting or something's not getting done quick enough, I can go drown myself in the bottle, or I can switch over to another painting. So I think that is great advice.
Choice.
Fingering that flame. Yes, the choice.
Thank you,
guys.
Thank you. Thank you for seeing us for what we do. Thank you for
Thanks,
that.
Maury.
That's a big tithe right there for you to verbalize your loyalty for 6-7 years and to recognize how we show up to the table all the time, every month. Thank you.
I appreciate you guys. Thank y'all.
Thank you.
Thank you for saying it.
Bye-bye. Yes, ma'am. Bye-bye.
Awesome.
Well,
That's
I mean,
awesome.
did she say 6-7 years?
New Orleans. Can't say New Orleans. It's New Orleans.
I think, did she say that she's been listening for 6 to 7 years? Or did I miss something? I might have missed something. Mary? Oh, good Lord. Then Mary's gone. Well, that's the end of the show, folks. I have no idea what just happened, but I'm sure Mary wants to do the final thing too. So what in the hell just happened? Did it disconnect to everybody? Are we so freaking broke around here that it's like shutting off the lights? Hold on one second. Let me fix this. You guys are going to hear some like back stuff. Maybe not. Maybe I can do it to where you don't have to hear it. Like some behind the scenes stuff. But no, that was very sweet of her to say that. Hold on, I got to put in this thing. All right, so I'm going to put this number in, pound. Oh boy, I hope she calls back. Let's see. That might be a sign. We should just end this thing. Are you there, Mary? What the heck happened? It just dropped us. Well, classic Gemini stuff. It might be a sign. They might be like looking at the balance on the phone system, like, look, we got to cut these people off, Well, I mean, we did take one call. That's weird. I mean, there was a lot to say, I guess. A lot to say. A lot. Well, I'm going to do something real quick that I've never done, that I would never do on this broadcast. Is the phones take precedence, because the phones take precedence over everything. I'm going to do this one time and one time only, because if I start this trend, it won't stop, and then it'll just destroy the show, and I won't have fun. And I got to be a little selfish here, but we've got looks like a guy. I can't tell his name. I can't read it because I can't see anymore. But he says, I don't have a phone, Joe. I'm in the hospital here in Puxatawny. I have been exposed to heavy metals, possibly mercury. I'm a Libra sun and ascendant Taurus moon. Can I just get one card? That's right. Hey,
for you to receive that affirmation.
Mary, can you give them that message again? Because classic Gemini fashion, I didn't have your output on. So go ahead and give them that message one more time.
Okay, I feel like that part of the sign, and yes, of course, I'm happy to draw you a card. Part of the sign is that you even mentioned Mercury, and this is the new moon in Gemini, ruled by Mercury. And whether you're at home or in the hospital, first and foremost, the main sign with my God-gifted, creator-gifted breath that I want to envelop you with is that this is a sign, and we call forth the glory and the wonders of all that is of holy fire, the I am that I am, the all that is. Imbue our friend here who has messaged Joe in the hospital. We allow the divine cleansing and clarification of anything that has disrupted his spirit system, his mental system, his body temple system, and we release it into the hands of love's light, knowing that he is worthy to receive this even miraculous healing, wellness, balance by the power of all that we have in us that's good as we join his tribe to deem it to be so. And we deem that you're worthy to receive that. The card that I picked for you out of this Oracle of the Hidden Worlds is a waterfall. I'll send the picture of it to Joe over in on Telegram so he can show. It's called The Gift. It's the 39th card. It says 3 words: present, which is another word for the gift, the present, honoring, offering. So the honoring of the offering and the solidification of your return to wellness, your ability to receive the gift of all that is of holy healing, all that is of holy harmony. The gift card has a radiant, feminine-looking being in a shaft of light. The waterfall, there's a palm tree, there's this waterfall going down over rocks. She has her hands up, and she's literally receiving she's receiving like a light waterfall while there's an actual lit up waterfall behind her. And it looks just like what in this area there's a thing called Bald River Falls. If you look that up on YouTube, Bald River Falls in Tennessee, and just imagine exactly where those rocks and those high cliffs are, and it comes down, and just see that in white light. I feel like that's the symbol for you laying in the hospital there. That even as you get home, that you're to see that waterfall, that cascading light frequency coming into the actual, if you will, cellular atomic part of your body. You know, you're literally breathing it, and it's in the fluids of your body, the water, the DNA, the chemical. Because this higher guide, I feel like it's your higher guide, this higher guide female made of luminous light is over here like electrifying, if you will, or activating the waterfall has created her vision to come forth in the artwork of this card. And so she's the one that's appearing as the gift to be able to have you completely enveloped in light. And where there is darkness or where there is something that's been hidden or shadowed, the holy light, the sacred light can shine light upon it. And for you to just accept that no matter what doctors you have or medicines are available in your area or whatever, available or not for cost or whatever, this is rising above all of that. And the light that you were created from and are one with and plugged into, you now are a magnet to be able to have all of those frequencies come into you and say, my beloved son, this is a resurrection cycle for you. Accept the gift in this present. You have so much to offer, your story to be told, your testimonies to bless other people. This is a crescendo moment in your life that looks like a toxic illness. We got you laid out we got you to freeze frame in your life so that this could be an altering point on your path. And I feel like that you are forever changed because of it. I'm just wanting to call it forth to be in the highest glory of all that is of light. And I accept it and I project it.
Man, there you go, Scott. Dude, I hope you get to feeling better, man. I've heard of that happening to people getting, I don't think he knows what it is. I think he said he's possibly been exposed to, he says have been exposed to heavy metals, possibly mercury. I'm sure they'll find out what's going on, man.
I will tell you this, the thing that I know about heavy metals from working in a health food store and studying herbology for a long time, the very inexpensive spice, I think it is, but you can get it, the greens over near, when you go over to look for different greens over in the produce aisle, it's called cilantro. And cilantro chewing, it's got a little, its own little taste like spearmint does or peppermint leaves do.
Or soap.
Cilantro. Yeah. For some people, that have that genetic thing.
Tastes like, cilantro, I have that gene that it tastes like soap. But if it would cure me of that, I'd eat the hell out of it.
Yeah, right. And then when you slice, and aloe plants are pretty inexpensive, and usually your neighbors have one that can cut a spline off for you. I grow it all the time. And the aloe plant, the real aloe plant, when you first cut it, there's a little bit of a yellow-looking fluid that comes out of it. Let that come out. And then the clear gelatin stuff, drop that in water, and bottled water or purified water, distilled water. So you're getting, would be my choice. There's no chemicals. It's been distilled, steam distilled, and put that whole aloe thing, like just get that gel part in there after the initial cut and let that go down into the water, because the government always keeps aloe plants. My dad, who retired from NASA, told me this, and Oak Ridge told me that they always have aloe plants because aloe plants are deemed to be effective even with radioactivity. So that's a big, and then First Nations people know about the power of the aloe plant too. So it's a very, very powerful plant medicine, and it's not expensive. So you can buy aloe juice and you can buy aloe gel at a store too, but you can actually have the plant in your house, and I keep it for that very reason. That's why I keep it. So high holy blessings to you, and I receive it and I accept it. And please message Joe and the audience listening to this, even with the replays on YouTube. Scott, I think Joe said, please message Joe. He's a captain of our ship. Message him, because I'm going to continue to send waves and frequencies of empowerment and wellness and renewed strength to you and prosperity in all kinds of ways. So let Joe know, because I'm going to keep at it. And I would ask our audience family to do the same.
We're a tight-knit group. We're small, but we're trying to grow to the right people, but we're a tight-knit group. So if you feel like you're alone, definitely hit us up. Hit me up for sure, and I'll spread it around. But you gotta get better, man. Like whatever you got to do. But it may be, like she said, maybe just a time to, at those times, you really take it all in and chill out for a minute. At least try not to stress for sure,
Yeah, because there's enough to just, you got, if you're there anyway, you've got everything to gain by saying, I'm going to choose to be aligned with the highest light, the divine alignment. I am worth it. I receive it. I allow divine security. I allow divine alignment. And you're cutting any kind of leashes or umbilical cords to be manipulated by anything other than just your higher self nurturing you, like the heavens are nurturing you. That's the mother-father thing coming in a union together with you, and has more power than anything that you've experienced on earth. I promise.
There's a lot of symptoms that come with that metal poisoning that relate to other things too. So I mean, I hope, do what Mary's saying, do the cilantro thing for sure, but make sure you get checked out, just to make sure. Because sometimes it's something small they can find and fix you up, Some kind of something. I don't know how many times I've been to the doctor, and it's like, I've got blurred vision, this stuff's going on and all that. And I'm like, am I diabetic? Am I dying? And I freak out because I just don't trust the doctors at all. But eventually they figure out what's going on,
You're holding them to the fire. That's what you're doing. You're holding them to the fire. It's like, I said,
yeah,
make it real.
Make it rain. And make them figure it out, man. That's what I do. Run a test. I don't want to know your opinion. Run a damn test, and then we'll talk.
Yeah, because then it gives you both a chance to research it. Yeah, it's just like, yeah, don't push anything on me. You can give me you're the professional. Give me your professional opinion, and if I'm listening to you, and I'm also going to be getting in touch with holistic herbalists, and I'm going to be doing my meditations and my prayers. I'm going to be doing my own research on, like, I'll go into YouTube or whatever your platform is. Not so much TikTok for me. I'm going to natural ways to detox from heavy metals. Safe, natural ways to detox from heavy metals. And then I might type in something like spiritual meaning involved with possible mercury toxicity or mercury poisoning, and they'll come up with maybe it was a past life thing, and they just do the round robin of the whole thing, like just do that whole spiral, because your inner self you'll get a feeling, and it'll be like right there, right there, right there. That's what it is. And just to finish with that, the animal card that I got was the raven, which to native peoples, that's high magic in the medicine cards. But the raven on the card, it says, align your inner compass. Align your inner compass. I find that fascinating because I just said divine alignment. Just said divine alignment. So I would just simply, even if it sounds like just words because you feel weak or it's just like, oh my God, I did not need this in my life. Just simply say, just breathe it. Just whisper it with your breath. I am allowing, I am receiving divine alignment. Alignment with the light, alignment with the love of the all that is. I am that I am. Whatever works for you, whatever resonates. Jesus, God, breathe me. Holy Spirit, imbue me. Whatever works for you. Great Spirit, create, whatever. But do that even with your mind and your breath. If it's kind of hard to talk or it takes too much energy, affirm it in your mind, just like it's a mantra. And you're chanting it, because what you're doing is you're overriding pre-programmed stuff from either another incarnation or crap that happened in this lifetime. This
Right.
crisis, chaos point is so you rise above it, and you don't do it just like your daddy and just like your mama, and that was good enough for them, so it's good enough. No, you're going to the higher consciousness of the Father and the grandmother of the universe, everything that is the best of a father figure and the best of a mother figure. It not necessarily might have the face of my mom or my dad, or it might in pieces and parts, but you're going to the Creator. Yeah, you're going to the Creator. You go to the top, start at the top.
Well, Mary, again, in fashion, there's just not enough time to talk about it all. I hope everybody got a good thing. I've been up since 6 o'clock in the morning. I'm starting to do the slow blink, This is crazy.
Lord, child, time for you to go night-and-night.
Yeah.
Time for you to go night.
I'm a late night guy. I am. I'm usually up till 3 or something, but like you were saying earlier during the broadcast, I got the weird job hours and stuff. It's just a weird life right now, but it's working.
But it was timing. Mercury, the timing, getting the timing right. Yeah, it's easy for me to not be nocturnal. I love the nocturnal stuff. Clients will say, "Can you do a reading at 10 o'clock?" I'm like, hell no. No, you don't want me at 10 o'clock in the morning doing this. No.
Thank you, April and Georgiana, for the super chats. That's a big help. Really appreciate it. I know YouTube makes it easy to donate. They like to take a little chunk, but they do make it easy. So we're grateful for that as well. It's probably, honestly, they're genius. It's probably the easiest way you can support if you can't find the other ways. But
Mary, thank you for telling me.
Do you want to wrap it up like in a short paragraph here before we roll out?
I'm going to leave it with an affirmation, because Gemini is words. It's the power of words and the magic potions and the magic formulas of wording, casting spells. I am the fortunate one, cherished in the heart of the great beloved. Own that you're cherished. I am the fortunate one, cherished in the heart of the great beloved. That's what I want to finish with.
That works. We'll see you again on the next New Moon broadcast. I look forward to it. I really do. This is so much fun. I love doing it.
It's a great medicine. Sweet dreams, everybody. Restful sleep. And may all the problems that you've perceived that you've had have been aggravating your mind and your psyche, your soul, just follow Scott's example and just let the divine alignment happen, because that will happen without lessons and challenges that involve pain or loss. When we just get the ego positioned and let our soul star be in charge, magic.
There you go, folks. MaryDusina.com. Get a reading. It is definitely a good time. If you haven't got one, get one. Hit us up. Let me know how it goes when you get the reading, because I know it's going to change your life for sure. Night, night, y'all. Sweet dreams. Oh, man.
Get some sleep.
That's just the only thing I have to get up and do.